Well, hello, Elvis friends. So the question I have for you today is, what does the movie Loving You and Elvis's Army Induction have in common? I bet many of you know because Elvis fans are the most knowledgeable fans out there. But I recently learned this probably about 3 months ago when I decided, along with my husband, to watch all of Elvis's movies from his first movie to the last, and Loving You was his second movie. And I was just really blown away when I saw something in the movie. So let's share what that is and see if you knew. I'm really curious if you did. So Loving You was filmed from January 1957 until early to mid-March 1957. It was released in July of 1957 and actually premiered in Memphis, Tennessee, a couple weeks before it premiered nationwide. And this movie was Elvis's first starring role. It was his second movie. It was his first color film, and it actually has one of my favorite scenes in a movie. So let's look at what that particular scene is. As you can see here, Elvis at one particular point, and that is right here. And this is why it's one of my favorite scenes in all of his movies. So if you'll notice, Elvis is looking at this lady. And many of you all know who this lady is. Now, this is not the answer to the question, what does Loving You have in common with Elvis's Army induction? That's not the answer to the question, but this is just another interesting fact, and I wanted to bring it up because, again, it's one of the most touching aspects of this entire movie, and really one of the most touching aspects of Elvis's career. Because as we all know, Elvis loved his mother more than anything and anybody in his life. And so you'll see here the arrows pointing at Gladys. And sitting next to Gladys, to her right, is Vernon. And in this particular scene that I've stopped right here, Elvis is looking at his mother, and she's looking at him. And you can just really see the love that he has for her and the love that she has for him. And that's why I love this scene. Now, let's move on to the question at hand. Okay, so let's watch this next scene. This will answer the question that I'm posing to you today. So in this scene, Elvis is exiting the theater.
First whole week we've ever spent in a real theater. Yeah. Thanks to you. Oh, what are you gonna do over the layoff, huh?
And it was at this point that I noticed and realized, what does Loving You and Elvis's Army induction have in common? And I think you can see it. So in this image here on the left, this is just a screenshot I took from that scene that you just saw. And here's the image of Elvis on that day when he went to his Army induction with his mother and his father. So looking here, I thought to myself watching this movie, I have to pause this movie, I have to take a screenshot, and I have to compare it to the pictures of his Army induction, because I did not realize until I watched this movie just a few months ago for, I don't know, it's probably, I don't know how many times I watched it in the past, but I never noticed or even thought to think that this is the same jacket he wore on that morning he went to his Army induction. So again, I took a screenshot, I compared the images, and yes, these are the same jackets. So if you'll notice here, let's look at this together. So I'm looking at his pocket first of all. So here is his pocket. And then here is his pocket and the image from the Army induction. And so you can see the stripes, the dark to the light, they're the same in each pocket. Now if you look at his lapel here, you'll see this first stripe on that lapel is darker. And here is that first stripe also. So you go dark to light, and it's the same pattern. So it's the same jacket. And just for a little more clarification, if you want to look at the sleeve, the very top where the seam meets the shoulder to the sleeve, you have that little bit of dark. You see that little bit of dark here. Then you have a light stripe and a dark stripe. So I don't know about you, but this was just really an amazing discovery to me because I never realized that he wore the same jacket to his Army induction that he wore in the movie Loving You. Now, many times in movies, they have multiple pieces of clothing of the same piece of clothing, so I don't know if that occurred with this particular jacket, and I don't know if there were multiple jackets, if the stripes were the same. I doubt it because when you cut the fabric, I'm assuming it's going to be different, but in any case, I'm pretty much convinced in my mind these are the same jacket. So that's just a pretty interesting little discovery to me, and I was excited about it. Maybe you knew it beforehand, and if you did, I would love to know that. But that was just an interesting discovery. So that's the video. Hope you enjoyed it, everybody. I hope wherever you are in the world, life is good to you. If it's been rough lately, we all go through some rough patches again. Brighten your day. Turn on that Elvis music. Listen to his beautiful songs. Watch his movies. Like I said, during the pandemic, I listened to so much music from Elvis, watched his movies as I was working from home, and it just really lifted my spirits so many times. So again, stay safe, and until the next time, I wish you happy holidays which are coming up, and I wish you peace and health and much joy.